What up? Pat Mayo here. This is a replay of my weekly guest spot on Nando, Corey, and Friends on the Better Sports Network, presented by Mayo Media. That's why I have access to be able to use this. If you haven't heard of Better Sports Network, it's an app that you can download on your iPhone or Android. It's in the App Store right now. I put the link down in the description. I believe you need to be 17 years or older in order to get on it, but you can figure out how to get on it. Either way, Better Sports Network, if you just want to search that in the App Store as well. They're live every single weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can video in, you can call in, you can text in. That's all completely free. The entire app is just gambling talk and fantasy talk all day long, all on this app in real time. It's like live radio, but there's video for it as well, and it's all confined to this one app. So Nando, Corey, and I go through some futures, be it lacrosse futures, football futures, win total futures, NBA futures, everything like that. Nando has come up with like a round robin pool. So we wanted to make some content that was good for a while, because I know people over Christmas time and the holidays aren't producing much content at all. That this is when you can kind of bookmark, and if you got nothing to do or you want to kill some time or get away from someone, you have some content to put on. All right. Smash the like while you're here, sub to the channel, and enjoy.
Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Corey, Nando, and Friends, presented by the man on your screen, Pat Mayo, Mayo Media. Pat, what's happening, man? How are you?
They ran a commercial while I was waiting with a video of everyone basically on the network asking what they wanted for Christmas. And after watching it, I don't want anything, because it's very clear that I do video and most people on here do radio.
Yeah, very good. I was going to say, I mean, we have to have a conversation about the program after us, the playbook, the follically challenged playbook.
No, come on, man. We're gonna have to go start throwing
with Adam Ronis and Justin Fisterman, the follically challenged playbook.
And what's the conversation you would like to have?
Dogging on Ronis until he come on the show and talk trash back to me. So I gotta take a shot at Adam Ronis every day.
You two are brothers and cowboys, so I don't know what the problem is.
I have a rivalry with Adam Ronis. That's what you do with your rival.
All right, fine. All right,
you go back and forth. Pat, you got a rivalry with Scott Engel, right?
No, I mean, a rivalry would assume that like people are on equal playing field. It's like for those 80 years, did the Yankees really have a rivalry with Boston? No, they just beat them every time.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go.
Set him up for another one. All right, so we're gonna go into the future here. What I did was I set up I think 9 different categories of multiple choice futures that I found interesting. We're gonna give you $20. The game is you have $20, and basically you have $20. You can put them on one of the presented futures. That's it. You can't split it 10 and 10. You can't do 5 and 15. You can pick one. It doesn't have to be the one you love the most. It could be the odds you love the most. It could be anything. But they're I put them into a hat, basically shook them up, and they fell all over the place. So there's some National Lacrosse League stuff in here. There's some Academy Award stuff in here. It should be fun. Pat Mayo, Corey Parson, and then we'll go to general futures stuff in general. So
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. Hey, me too. Pat, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Is Coming to America a Christmas movie?
No. Wait, Coming to America
might be.
Or Trading Places?
Trading Places
to America
is.
Coming to America. It was the winter time when the movie took place.
Yeah, but winter used to be like a lot longer, I felt like, back in the 80s. Like it would start in the middle of November and go till early March. Like I haven't seen snow yet this year. I hear it's very cold in America. Sucks to be you. But in Canada, where it's nice and warm, and we haven't got snow yet.
Wait, there's not even a Christmas tree in Coming to America.
When they had
they were at a St. John's game.
We remember, Nando, when they had the engagement party, right?
Yeah.
Help Gilligan get off the island. Help Daniel get out the lion's den. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they had the engagement party, I feel like there was a Christmas tree in the house.
Maybe you're right. Doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
Now, Nando, remember how we talked about when that media critic Corey and I said I can't be a play-by-play guy because my mind just goes anywhere at any moment.
Yes.
We getting ready to talk futures, and all of a sudden, Coming to America is a Christmas movie. That's why I can't be down there with Booger McFarlane. You know what I'm saying? Because we be talking, the game be going on, and I be talking about Coming to America.
I mean, that's probably more coherent than anything Booger's ever said.
Shout out to
Good
Booger.
point. I'm sure there was some reason for that.
Got them offensive line fingers.
Here's the first group of futures.
Let's do it.
All right, number one, 49ers to win the Super Bowl at plus 650. All odds here are DraftKings odds. 49ers to win the Super Bowl at plus 650. The Bucks to win the NFC South at minus 400. Or the Yankees to win the World Series at plus 700. You got $20, Pat. Where are you putting it?
Unfortunately, I'm going to bet 20 to win 5 on the Buccaneers at minus 400 because I don't think the other two are happening.
Oh, those are the gold standard of teams, of franchises. The three of us, I believe, had growing up, the 49ers and Yankees.
49ers are more your guys' time, not so mine. I'm young, remember?
Fine.
Yeah.
Corey,
Right.
49ers to win the Super Bowl at plus 650.
You know who Roger Craig is, Pat?
I don't.
No, okay. Tom Rathman, ring a bell.
The 49ers I remember being good had Steve Young as their quarterback.
All right, it's different,
Yeah, that's
different
fair.
49.
That's fair.
That's towards the end of it. All right, so I'm going to take I'm curious to ask Pat a question, but I'm going to take my $20 and I'm going to take the home run shot with the New York Yankees to win the championship because now they got Carlos Rodon, and maybe that's the missing piece. Now, Pat, what don't you like about the 49ers?
I think that the Eagles are better. I think that they're similarly constructed to the Cowboys, and I think you're probably betting the 49ers at the peak of their value at the moment. That's not to say that they can't win the Super Bowl. Most obviously they can, based just on their defense alone. But I think we're going to get a good test for them, right? I mean, for the rest of the way when they actually play like a decent defense or two to see if the offensive line can hold up, if Brock Purdy can hold up around a lot of pressure. But realistically, I mean, what's the AFC favorite over the NFC right now? Just any AFC team, like just you do those blind futures. It's probably like AFC -3, AFC -3.5. I just really think an AFC team's going to win.
I can see that.
Do you believe in the Brock Purdy magic at least, Pat? Are you in on this Brock Purdy-ness?
I mean, I think he's fine. I think he's perfectly capable of running this offense. I don't think he's going to not limit them in the same way that Jimmy G couldn't limit them. But what happened when they needed plays? I mean, the 2 times in the past 4 years. Last year in the NFC Championship game, they needed Jimmy G to step up and make a play. He couldn't. In the Super Bowl, they needed Jimmy G to step up and make a play. He couldn't. Kind of feel like Brock Purdy's going to be the same way. He'll manage you there. He'll make a play or two. But how much faith do you have in Brock Purdy down 7 with a minute 4 left and no timeouts to go win an NFC Championship or to win a playoff game? Got to feel like that's pretty low.
I think he's Tom Brady. I think he's the next Tom Brady.
Why is everyone the next Tom Brady who comes in and plays okay?
No, this is the
Like,
first time I've ever
games?
called anyone the next Tom Brady. This guy I think is the next Tom Brady.
Joe Burrow is the next Tom Brady.
Tom Brady came in like with no fanfare, kind of boring. So, he didn't really have those big years until Randy Moss showed up. You know what I mean? Like,
got it.
He was a winner though.
JT Daniels is the next
That's Tom Brady, yeah.
Once he transfers to his 7th college.
All right. Next set. Here are the next set of odds. Oh, crap. I forgot to write. All right. Cowboys to win the NFC. I forgot to write the plus to that. Let's just call it plus 400.
I saw
It's
that.
got to be. Cameron Smith to win the Masters at plus 1,200. Or Michigan as national football champions at plus 290. Cowboys to win the NFC. I'll look that up as you.
I believe
figure
it's
this out.
plus 450.
Nice. Hey, not a bad guess. All right. Plus 450, we'll call it. Cameron Smith to win the Masters at plus 1,200. Pat, when are the Masters? April, right?
Yeah, the Masters are, let me think, this year because I'm going on vacation April. I'm going on vacation April 12th.
All right.
So and that's a Wednesday. So the 11th, the 10th. The Masters ends on April 9th.
All right.
So,
Right.
I'm not too far. Augusta's like an hour and a half from here.
I thought
You
you
should
lived in
go.
New York.
I don't live in New York no more, Pat.
Oh.
No, people from here actually go to Augusta to work in the tournament.
I mean, if you can score me tickets, I'll pay you handsomely.
Pat, just
See
work.
what's up. And Augusta's a cool city.
Really?
Oh yeah, Augusta's
I didn't
Really?
think Augusta. I just assumed it was just the golf course.
No, Augusta's a real man. Augusta's like I don't want to say it's not a resort, obviously, but Augusta's a cool place to go chill. when you regionally, you know what I'm saying? If you live down here, then like you go to Augusta, you have a good weekend. You might like you'll take your lady to a show in Augusta. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
But it's not like
what makes Augusta like more fun just to randomly go to for a weekend than like Savannah?
Well, Savannah is more resort. You got water and stuff like that, but you'll have more shows like in Augusta. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you like the Chitlin circuit, you know what I'm saying? Shows like that, you know what I'm saying?
So it's like
we'll come to Augusta.
So
It's
like
regional fun.
It's like Bronson, Missouri.
I guess you can say that, yeah.
what are the bars
For black people. Oh, this lit. You know, you have a good time in Augusta, for real. I'm telling y'all, they did not make a mistake putting the Masters in Augusta.
Why don't you hear that? You never hear like Cameron Smith was out until 2 a.m. at the bars after the Masters ended.
Trust me, they what? They have a good time when they go out there for the Masters.
You never hear that, man. Like like I guess Austin. Everyone's
Remote
Nashville.
broadcast from the Masters.
All right, let's do it.
Set
All right,
it
yeah,
up.
we can do that.
I'll meet y'all in Augusta.
What are you putting your $20 on? Michigan to win this year's national championship, Cameron Smith to win the Masters, or the Cowboys to win the NFC? I don't even think we have to ask Corey, but sure.
Actually, it's not going to be the Cowboys. Go ahead, Pat.
I was gonna say for me it is the Cowboys, a plus 450. I think those are the best odds you're gonna get. The 12 to 1's too low on Cameron Smith. Dude's playing. He's going to have 6 competitive rounds before he tees off at the Masters because he left the PGA Tour to go play on Live. I don't think Michigan's going to win the national championship. Like Cameron Smith can win the Masters, but I'd want him at least double those odds, which just aren't going to exist. I think 450 is not bad for the Cowboys, actually.
Pat,
I think 450 is a good number for Dallas. I worry about the quarterback. Now, as far as Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, Michigan opened up at plus 350. So that number is being bet. So some sharp money is attacking Michigan to win the whole thing this year.
Pat, was the live thing really good? Is that going to be a factor limiting the players in rounds played? I hadn't thought about that. Like not enough tournaments because the PGA is like you can't play in our stuff, man. Like you live, right? And then you can just come play the Masters.
Yeah, you can basically play in all of the majors. It sounds like we were waiting to hear what the Masters had said about the eligibility of the live guys. So anyone who's qualified under the Masters regulations is still going to be in regardless of what tour you play on. So obviously Cameron Smith just won the Open Championship, so he's exempt for the Masters for the next 3 years. Like Bryson has a U.S. Open, so he's exempt. Brooks Koepka has majors. Phil Phil and Sergio have both won the Masters, so they can play in any Masters all time that they ever want to go play. So they're not going to limit those guys right now. And it sounds like all the other 3 majors are going to do the same thing, but live guys are not allowed to play on the PGA Tour.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Well, I mean,
Or
they
maybe
went
not.
and
I don't know. I
joined
guess
another
they're-
tour.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it's on them. All right, let's go.
But if somebody big enough was to go over that joint, you know what I'm saying? The PGA Tour is it's not been a big enough star yet to put the PGA Tour's feet to the fire. Is that the case, Pat?
Isn't it everyone but Tiger Woods has gone over basically?
Yeah,
I
that's true,
know,
too.
because let me ask you, Corey, because you don't really care about golf. Who would be
Yeah.
the name that would move the needle for you? You'd take notice. Besides Tiger Woods, is there anyone that you could name that would be like, oh, that's a big deal?
I am not the real big golfing guy.
No,
but say like VJ Singh went to live.
VJ Singh is 62 years old.
And Joe
What other
Montana is the
golfer?
quarterback of the 49ers. So what?
What's the tall dude name that he might have won the Masters last year?
Oh, Dustin Johnson?
Yeah, Dustin Johnson.
He was the first
He
guy who went.
Yeah, he was.
Didn't even
Yeah,
care
he's
about
like,
it.
he's like
first
the
guy to
poster
go to
boy for
live, huh?
Live.
All right, well, there you go. All right, so I'm sorry.
How about
No,
Rory
but, like, they've got a
McIlroy?
whole bunch of names. It sounds like they're going to be airing on, I don't know. They're going to pay I think they're going to pay FS1 for airtime this year so they can actually be on in the United States. They're running everything through YouTube right now. Everyone's making like $200 million who's gone over to play, but like they're just more a thorn in the PGA side. They're diluting the PGA product more than and maybe this is year 2. Maybe their product is a lot better this year, but I don't know. It's like a scramble. It's only 54 holes. Guys are all playing at the same time. Like they don't start on hole 1 and go through hole 18. You might start on hole 13 and end on hole 12. Like it's really bizarre.
Have you guys checked out the Netflix series where you can watch, you don't watch the episodes or you can watch the episodes in any order you want, and you'll come to a different conclusion, a different storyline than if you watch y'all know what I'm talking about?
There was a Black Mirror episode like that.
The Choose Your Own Adventure? No.
Yeah, on Netflix, like you could just pick like what you wanted to do. It was like a choose. Yeah, it was a choose your own.
But that's not the
adventure
one he's talking about. Is that a different one, or is that the one you're talking about?
I mean,
I
this
don't
is
know.
a full series to where you can watch it straight through, or if you watch it like front to back, or you can start in the middle and switch it up. But you'll come to different conclusions as you watch the series. Nobody's in on this. And Javon said Rory McIlroy, Pat.
Yeah, Rory's probably the big name. Rory, Rom. That's probably it. Like those are the two that matter. Justin Thomas and Spieth, I suppose, too.
Not VJ Singh.
Not VJ
Singh.
won though. VJ and his son just won the PNC Challenge. They beat Tiger and his 13-year-old son. VJ's son's like 35.
Yeah, seems unfair. All right, next group of futures. Wait, you guys picked, right?
Yeah.
Packers under
Michigan.
Packers under 7.5 wins at -120. You got $20. You're gonna put this on. Packers under 7.5 wins, 7.5 wins for -120. The Titans to not make the playoffs is a +125, or the Astros to repeat as World Series champions at +600. Pat, you go first.
Packers under 7.5.
Packers under 7.5.
Yeah,
It's not happening.
I mean, it might. They're +650 to make the playoffs. Like there is a real path for them to make it, but they would have to get to what they're 6 wins right now. They have to win 2 more. They play the Vikings, Lions, and Dolphins to end their year. Nah, they'll lose 2 of those.
Corey, what do you think?
I think this is very interesting. I'm gonna go with the Houston Astros because I've seen them do it before, too many times at my expense.
+600 is, I mean, you got $20 +600. That's a nice payday out of the 3. You just got to wait a while, right?
I don't want to tie my $20 up for 8 months.
Tell you what, man, I don't think the Titans are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but a lot of that has to do with the Jags too, right?
No, the Jags are hot, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping for it. I hope the Jags make the playoffs. I'd rather see them in the Titans, but and the Titans just do this. The moment you believe in the Titans, they're trash. The moment you give up on them, they're good.
Yep, and they're tricky like that. Mind you, this is the team that was best team in the AFC this time last year. 1 game lead in this division right now, with a game left to go against the opponent that's right behind them. It's hard to get behind the Titans right now, but I would bet that I wouldn't fade them though, because I think they are the team that's most likely to win this division. That game versus that game at Jacksonville is the last game of the season. That game could get flexed to be the last game of the season. That could be Sunday Night Football to end the season if the division's on the line.
Titans not make the playoffs. That should be like +400 to me. +125 kind of suggests.
Jacksonville already beat them this year.
Yeah. There's a lot of momentum, man. There's end of season momentum with them. They're gelling. It's Doug Peterson, you know?
And like all season, advanced stats have loved Jacksonville. So they've always been given a lot of credit by sports books. They've been given a lot of credit by like Football Outsiders or whatever, even for like EPA per play offensively or even defensively, that they've just been better. They've been worse than their underlying metrics would suggest. So a lot of people, quote unquote, saw this flip coming, but that's always been factored into the sports books every single week, that they're a lot better than maybe their performance is dictated. And maybe they built that up really early when they blew out the Chargers and things like that. And the Titans have been kind of the opposite way, where they win in classic Titans ways, where you watch and they're like, what? All they do is just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. How are they winning this game? But they do.
But the problem with the Titans, I mean, with the Jaguars to me is, how do you explain that early season slump that was just, I mean, look at the teams that Jacksonville has lost to this year. These teams are not, they lost to the Broncos. These teams, the Texans, the Colts. These are non-playoff teams that Jacksonville has had losses to, where they have scored 17 points, 6 points, stuff like that. They scored 6 versus Houston. This is a playoff team?
They hadn't gelled. They got a new coach. They got a new offense. They got a young quarterback coming into his own, right? I mean, that's.
They lost, 5 in a row at one point?
Yeah. Eagles, Texans, Colts, Giants, Broncos. Let's ride.
Yeah. And then they lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to the Lions. But
those are good losses. Those are solid losses.
The Colts beat the Chiefs this year. Like, the Colts should have beat Minnesota last week.
That's true, the Colts. But didn't the Colts beat the Chiefs in the Frank Reich era?
Yes. I mean, the only game that Jeff Saturday won was his first game.
Jeff Saturday.
Yeah,
Against the Raiders.
Against
the Raiders.
Exactly. What does that say? Next group of three.
Let's
These
do
are
it.
these. I don't think any of us know anything about these three. I thought it'd be fun to kind of throw them into a little group and see what happens. The NLL, the National Lacrosse League champion, will be the Philadelphia Wings at plus 900. The Daytona 500 winner this year will be, well, next year, I guess. This year, whenever you're watching this, will be Kyle Larson at plus 12. Or Arsenal to win EPL at plus 250. EPL's got two favorites up top, and then everyone else, like I think it's Man U and Arsenal are up there, and then everyone else, like the next one's like plus 3,000. Daytona 500 winner Kyle Larson or NLL champion Philadelphia Wings. Pat, what do you think?
I'll go with Kyle Larson, 12-1 to win the Daytona 500. I feel like Daytona is one of those ones where like anyone can win. I think that's how that works on that track, where just like a crash can blow everything up. So yeah, 12-1 seems fine for a shot at randomness. I can't pick the Philadelphia Wings because my hometown Halifax Thunderbirds are 8-1 to win the NLL championship. I'd rather just back them.
That's fair.
Do Baltimore have a team in the lacrosse league? Because that's where most lacrosse is played.
They have to.
Baltimore.
They play like fruity lacrosse, like outdoor lacrosse.
Oh, really?
So Baltimore, like a hotbed like Johns Hopkins and Maryland, like they don't have.
You would think they would have the best lacrosse, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but they play like country club lacrosse.
Oh, they don't get out there and grind it out.
Yeah, they play like the outdoor stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, there's got to be like a
field lacrosse, like field lacrosse. This is box lacrosse. This is what we play in Canada.
But there's got to be a healthy group of people in Baltimore who like lacrosse no matter what, and we'll go play, pay to see.
Oh no. Field lacrosse, like rich person sport. Box lacrosse, poor person sport.
Like highlight.
Yeah.
All right. Fair.
It's like field lacrosse is. I mean, it's not as expensive to play as like polo, but it's like a country club sport. It's like golf.
Yeah, it's for rich kids.
Yeah,
Corey,
like you can play. Like we used to play. There used to be a basketball court up by our house. That's where we would play lacrosse out of, like with hockey boards and hockey rinks outside in basketball courts. The ball wouldn't go anywhere, and you can rough people up if you want to.
Nice.
Jim Brown was a great lacrosse player.
Yeah,
I think he's like one of the best lacrosse players maybe ever.
Turned out it was a bit more profitable for him to be one of the best football players.
Yeah. Yes, or an actor in Mars Attacks.
Or I'm gonna get you, sucker.
That's right. Corey, what's your bet?
Great movie, by the way. Very underrated movie. I'm gonna get you, sucker. Chris Rock's first appearance on the big screen. Great stuff.
He just wanted some ribs.
That's it. He just want. Can you just pour some water in my hands?
For a nickel.
Corey, what's your pick here with the Philadelphia Wings, Kyle Larson, or Arsenal?
I'm gonna go with Kyle Larson either because I don't know much about the Wings or Arson.
All right, fair.
Arsenal, excuse me. I don't know about Arson either. In case you're listening.
I got
in case the man is listening. I don't know. Not Arson. I didn't burn down kick booty for the insurance money. That's what happened when we was in Orangeburg freshman year. Orangeburg, the local liquor store burnt down, and the rumor was they burnt it down for the insurance money.
You hear that a lot when things burn down
in college towns, because they would sell to freshmen. Kick booty would sell to freshmen. They wouldn't even ID you. You could buy. We used to go to Kick Booty and buy MD 2020.
What's MD 2020? Is that like WD 40?
It's just very similar.
Pat, I never had a hangover headache until I was older, like 25, 26. Mad Dog, I think if you drank that today, would put you out for like 2 days. If you drank a bottle of that
moonshine?
right now.
That's not moonshine, but it might as well be. My man Blaze one time, he drank some Mad Dog 2020 one night, and like the next day, you know how you be like hungover, but you're coming down? He kept getting drunker. It was like 11 o'clock the next day. He was like, I'm getting worse. We had to take him to the hospital. His mom was real mad. I didn't send you down there to be drinking MD 2020.
Sugary. It was sugary. Like it was just, you would get drunk fast. And you had like a single serving size. It was like in a bottle that you was just like, okay, this is my bottle of Mad Dog 2020.
Think wino. Think wino, Pat.
Okay.
Paper bag.
Wino. Think paper bag, unscrew. You know what I'm saying? Mad Dog 2020.
All right, I got an all football one. I got all football futures.
Let's do it.
I love
Joe
this one, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Hey, thank you. Joe Burrow to be MVP at plus 650. Geno Smith for comeback player of the year at plus 100. Brian Daboll coach of the year at plus 3,000. You've got $20. Pat, which one are you putting on?
Brian Daboll, 30-1.
I like that.
We went over this on my show this week about Dan Campbell. Like, he's down to plus 175 to win coach of the year. Like, the Lions over under for wins, I think, was either 6.5 or 7.5. Like, they're not really much different than we thought they were going to be. It's just they sucked, and now like they're good. So it all evened out for them. Like, no one thought that like the Giants are horrible, yet their coach is making them good. Like, they should be a 2-win team, but they're like, good. I don't. It breaks my brain to figure out how that they currently have only 5 losses. They're probably going to make the playoffs. Like, this is such an overachievement. Now, Sirianni is probably going to win coach of the year, and he should over Dan Campbell, in my mind, at least. Maybe the Hard Knocks thing, the underdog Lions, maybe that story gets behind Dan Campbell. It ends up working out great for him. He ends up winning because he's a quote unquote media darling. And there's a lot of people on the internet who have Dan Campbell like 100-1 coach of the year futures. So you're going to hear a lot from them about why Dan Campbell should be winning the award. But right. Daboll, I think, has done the best job in football by far none of any coach for the group of talent that he has.
He seems like Dan Campbell seemed just like a crazy rager who's the men rally around him. Daboll actually like is a coach. Like I just picture him like just studying everything and like just mapping out a plan.
I think he knows how to run an organization.
Yeah.
I think he's learned. I think he's learned well from watching the right people. I think he does a great job. I think he's no nonsense, good business. I like Brian Daboll. I think it was an excellent hire. I don't know if he wins coach of the year this year, probably not, but I don't mind that taking that shot right there. I would probably just play it safe and go with Geno Smith to win the comeback player of the year. I think he's the safest option. Christian McCaffrey obviously making a push right now. But I would think, and Jared Goff, I forgot about Jared Goff. That's a good one right there. Jared Goff as well. But I think when you look at what Seattle did, like everybody figured, okay, they're starting Geno Smith, they're tanking. And now it's like they could make the playoffs.
The problem is they're fading hard.
They are.
Yeah. It's not like Geno Smith is having 300. Yeah. He's not having 300-yard games and they're losing. You know what I mean? He's having
but
good
you don't
games.
think the job is done yet? I mean, this is
I think it is. I think it's
we're talking about.
There's no way that you
listen. Last year this time, the favorite for comeback player of the year was Dak Prescott, and then Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase went on a 3-week tear, and then that was done. You know what I'm saying? Mac Jones was going to be the offensive MVP the offensive rookie of the year, and Jamar Chase came and took that award out of nowhere. So that could happen again this year if somebody gets hot. But I think Geno holds on down the stretch.
I feel the same way about offensive rookie of the year. Like when you go back, like Garrett Wilson's a big favorite right now.
Yeah, he's been.
But if Zach Wilson starts the rest of the year, he's not going to win because he doesn't do anything when Zach Wilson starts because no one does.
Well, that's a funny segue you just gave us there, Pat. Because the next set has an offensive rookie of the year one. Here we go. This is a set of 4 just because I did the math. I kind of fudged it. Here are the 4. You got $20. Do you put it on Brock Purdy as the offensive rookie of the year at plus 1,200? Dan Campbell, coach of the year at plus 175. Jared Goff, comeback player of the year at plus 225. Or the Guardians to win the American League pennant at 18-1. Pat Mayo, which one of these do you like the best? Put your $20 on.
Who the hell are the Guardians?
That's the new. It used to be the Cleveland Indians.
Oh. Okay. There we go.
American League Central.
Okay.
Red uniforms and blue.
Did they fire Chief Wahoo as well then?
They got rid of that. Yeah, they got rid of that before they even changed the name. They got rid of that.
Okay.
Joey Hats in the chat is saying Zach Taylor is going to win Coach of the Year. I do like that better than like what did Sirianni do? Sirianni got AJ Brown. Like that's his great coaching.
Sirianni before his star quarterback got hurt is 13-1 on a team that people were picking to win the NFC East solely because they didn't believe in Dallas. People thought the Eagles could make the playoffs, but they never thought the Eagles would be like the 1 seed running train on everyone. Like he's done a fantastic job with this team.
So I would say this about Sirianni too. And then you think about his introductory press conference, and Philadelphia Eagle fans thought he was going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
And he has turned out to be a pretty good coach. You know what I'm saying? He was smart enough to put Jalen Hurts in an offense that Hurts is comfortable in. Then they went out and got the pieces. They kept it rolling. I think Sirianni's the guy as far as that award goes. Now, as far as this award goes, say those numbers, say those things again for me, Nando.
For this group of 4 right now?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Brock Purdy, Offensive Rookie of the Year, 12-1. Dan Campbell, Coach of the Year, plus 175. Jared Goff, Comeback Player of the Year, plus 225. Guardians win the AL pennant at 18-1.
I would take the shot on Purdy.
I kind of like that one too.
I would take my shot on Goff. I think Purdy's live, but I think that Ken Walker is the one that can actually come back and take this.
Yep.
Now that he's back, 6-1.
Yeah, especially if he pays a couple big runs and the Seahawks end up getting that 7th seed in the NFC. And Ken Walker lead the league in rushing right now? Is his numbers that good?
No, he didn't play like the first 5 weeks.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, like he only has 700 rushing yards, but he has 9 touchdowns. Like if he can get to 912 touchdowns, I mean, what's Garrett Wilson going to end up with? Like I think Garrett Wilson is probably the best player of that bunch, but like when you take a look at his stats, like they're not great. He has 67 catches for 966 yards and 4 touchdowns. That 4 touchdowns is a tough look.
Yeah,
when you go back and look at the players who have won Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, because remember Jamar Chase won it last year, and he was record. He broke records. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Garrett Wilson, as much as we love him, he's not going to break any records. He might break some Jet records.
Yeah,
what is that really worth?
Yeah,
like Jamar Chase
breaking Met records.
Jamar Chase had 13 touchdowns and 1,500 yards last year.
Yeah, that's
like what did Beckham have the year that he won? He had a ton, didn't he?
He was hurt too, but when he did play, he went crazy. That catch against Dallas was his rookie year. He may have had 14 to 15 touchdowns. He was the only Giant that was scoring that year.
Yeah, he had 12 touchdowns
12
and
touchdowns.
1,300 yards in 12 games.
That was something.
It's a good year.
I still think Purdy, man, like I go back to I think Gene Clemens said this right when we had him on, right when our show started, was like, this is storyline, this is narrative. I feel like Ken Walker's lost that narrative, lost that momentum. Brock Purdy's just kind of starting to show up at the right time, and they're winning games, and it's unlikely, and he's got that beautiful 49ers uniform on. I just feel like people are going to look at that and be like, yeah, this guy's my Offensive Rookie of the Year. Look what he did. Took them to the Super Bowl.
Listen, I think the Commanders are live this weekend. This is the best defense he's faced, the best defensive line he's faced, the best defense he's faced. The Commanders got their back squarely against the wall after the loss on Monday night. They're going to have some attitude with them because they're going to feel like the refs took that game away from them. I want to, if Purdy has a good game this week, I think he's live.
I agree with you. I think if he has a good game this week, he most definitely is live. But if Seattle makes the playoff, like we're just thinking about this, how well everything's going for San Francisco at the moment and how poorly everything's going for Seattle at the moment. Now, do I think that the Seahawks are going to win as 9.5-point dogs to the Chiefs? No, I don't. But Ken Walker could rush for 150 yards in that game and keep it somewhat, and they can still lose. Like that's not out of the realm of possibility. We've seen everyone run over the Chiefs, but then the Seahawks go at home Jets, at home Rams, 2 very winnable games. They win those games. They're probably in, aren't they?
I haven't done the math. Yeah. Or are you just kind of suggesting it loosely? Like, yeah, probably.
Not think about it. If you look at the 49ers schedule, they haven't been that impressive. Wait a minute. They're tough. Wait a minute. The 49ers' best road victory was against the Panthers.
The Seahawks. The Seahawks last Thursday night.
Yeah, okay. That one.
Yeah, but we believe the Panthers are better than the Seahawks here on Corey Nando. It's presented by Mayo.
Listen, this win streak they're on right now. At Rams. Home versus Chargers, Cardinals, Saints, Dolphins, Buccaneers. They had 1, 2, 3. They had 5 straight home games. They're supposed to win these games.
Not with a third-string quarterback.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, what is the drop? Like, if anything, realistically, when we talked about Coach of the Year, Kyle Shanahan should be the one who's doing it because it's not so much the talent of any of these guys. Like, the most talented of the quarterbacks is probably Trey Lance, and they were the shittiest with him.
Fair.
Like, he has built a scheme that is sort of
it's amazing.
I keep kind of harping on this, but Mac Jones is the perfect quarterback for this offense.
I don't think we'll see him get traded.
I said that he should have been drafted by them. Remember, they traded up to get him.
Yeah. But as someone has pointed out to me and pushed back on that, and I actually agree with it, is that you take the home run swing with Trey Lance, because if Trey Lance is good, imagine if you just had Justin Fields in this offense. How explosive it would be. A guy who can run and bomb the ball along with all the scheming that goes into this offense. Like, he just has, like, this offense right now is geared for a quarterback who kind of sucks, but like has a decent enough floor that he's never going to kill you. That's what Purdy does. That's what CJ Beathard did. That's what Nick Mullins did on this team. Like, they were all fine. When you looked at EPA per play, they actually did really well because the offense runs really well through them. If you put a real game-changing talent quarterback in this offense, it'd probably be the best in the league.
100%. And like I said, I think that's why they went. I think you know what I think? The reason why they didn't draft Mac Jones, I think that photo of Mac Jones, that shirtless Mac Jones photo, I think that hurt his draft stock. Now listen, Now listen, you know what they say, Pat. I don't know if you heard this, but apparently I don't like black quarterbacks. So I heard. We talked about this.
It comes up all the time. It's not
so
apparently.
I gotta stop talking nice about Mac Jones.
I think Mac Jones fits perfectly with, and the reason they don't draft him is because they have Jimmy G, who's Mac Jones but slightly older. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Jimmy's far more handsome too. Let's say, if you saw Jimmy with his shirt off, you'd be like, that's why
we've got off track. Corey, what was your pick here?
My pick here was, I went with Brock Purdy.
All right, Brock Purdy. Oh yeah, me too. All right, nice.
Brocktober.
Guardians winning the AL seems like it should be more than 8. I mean, I get they got the pitching and everything, but you got the Yankees and the Astros to go through at the very least.
Okay,
seems
Boomer. Talk more about baseball.
I'm just saying. It's interesting stuff. All right, here's the next group. Dustin Johnson to win the Masters at plus 1,200. Brendan Fraser to win Best Actor for The Whale, which is minus 200. Georgia defeats Michigan in the title game. It has to be that exact scenario. Georgia defeats Michigan in the title game, which is plus 150. What are you going to put your $20 on, Pat Mayo? Dustin Johnson to win the Masters 1,200. Brendan Fraser to get the Best Actor award for The Whale at minus 200, or Georgia defeating Michigan in the title game at plus 150.
I will take Georgia to defeat Michigan in the title game at plus 150.
Any reason for that? No? Go ahead. All right, Corey, go ahead.
I'm going to take Dustin Johnson. He won the Masters before, right?
Yeah, he won it 3 years ago.
So he won it. So he's won it. I think he can win it again. And then 12-1 for somebody who's already won it, I think is a good number. But what is The Whale about?
I don't know what The Whale is about. I just know Brendan Fraser is really fat in it. But the big thing
is he the whale?
When you go to like the history of Best Actor and a lot of these things, the sentimental favorite, the one that everyone just really wants to win, that never wins, especially if it's in like a not great movie. The only time I can ever remember that happening was Denzel in Training Day, because it was just a makeup for like 4 movies he should have won for at some point. And he beat poor Don Cheadle in Hotel Rwanda, which was a way better.
I thought Don Cheadle in Hotel Rwanda was great.
He was awesome.
I think Denzel's best character was Coach Boone. Was Coach Boone in Remember the Titans?
Come on, man.
Take that, Coach Boone. I like Coach Boone better than I like the Training Day character. Now, wait a minute. Just hit me. The last Best Actor winner was Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
For playing the Williams sister father, and that's when he slapped Chris Rock, right?
No one's ever gonna remember that he won that award.
He might get nominated again
for the latest movie, right?
Yeah,
it's not a big fanfare about the latest movie. I guess he's on Hollywood's naughty list.
An obese and reclusive English teacher.
Roman Polanski won an Oscar in like 2003. Let's not. If he can win an Oscar, I think Will Smith can win one the year after he slapped someone.
You see what Adam said in the back?
Yeah,
you see what Adam said in the background?
Says the bigger story here is Corey likes black actors.
I like Colin Farrell to win Best Actor this year, and I love Colin Farrell, so that really tracks.
What's his movie? It's like the Banshee,
Banshees of Inisherin.
Innerhorn.
I watched like the first 20 minutes of it this morning, and I was like, "Oh, I'm all in on this."
That's strange timing.
Well, I was hanging out after the kids went to school, and I just saw that it finally, like before it was like I had to pay like $29.99. Now it's just free to watch. I was like, all right, I'll watch this. And like it's from It's Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, who starred together in one of my favorite movies of all time with the same director that they're with here. So if
In
anyone
Bruges?
hasn't seen In Bruges, go watch In Bruges.
Is this the movie like every Irish actor, every like Domhnall Gleeson's in it, and like if you name an Irish actor, they're in it?
Well, Domhnall Gleeson is Brendan Gleeson's son, isn't he?
Right. Is he in it?
I don't know. I just know that those two are in it.
Seems like it. All right. This is the Whale is about an obese and reclusive English teacher who tries to reconnect with his strange teenage daughter for one last chance at redemption. One of those people also asked questions.
Like a nice, heartfelt story.
Yeah, is the movie The Whale sad? And it's one of his most achingly sad, challenging works.
I mean, what other achingly sad, challenging work have you ever seen Brendan Fraser in? What, fucking George of the Jungle? The Mummy?
Yo, wait a minute. Can we stream the Whale?
I'm gonna guess no, because it feels like they're doing
It's in
circuit.
theaters.
I don't know. Like, it debuted at TIFF like last year, I think.
It's at all the AMC Lincoln Square and the Regal E-Walk in New York.
Oh, there's some fancy movie theaters.
Yeah, I don't think. Let's see the Whale movie stream.
Yeah, you can watch. Yeah, it's in theaters near me too, at the fancy one in my city as well.
I'm not going
There's
to.
no fancy one here.
All right, enough of this.
Oh,
We'll
shit.
figure this out
I
off
didn't
air.
know. I didn't know that the Whale was directed by Darren Aronofsky. Interesting.
Does that change?
I mean,
Your
it's
thoughts on this minus 200?
From the mind of Requiem for a Dream, we have The Whale.
All right, we got 3 more. We got to wrap this up in like 10, 15 minutes.
I mean, you could just
Requiem
list
for a
them. We can
Dream
pick one and not
is-
do any color on it.
Requiem for a Dream is top 5 30 for 30. Not Mount Rushmore, because I don't have it top 4. I would put it at number 5, Requiem for a Dream.
I don't know. When was the last time you watched Requiem for a Dream?
Well, you're talking the movie. Corey's talking 30 for 30. You're on 2 different levels right now.
Oh,
sorry. I'm talking about something different.
Yeah, Corey's talking about the 30 for 30 on ESPN. Pat's talking about the very serious, I think, heroin movie, isn't it?
No, I know nothing
it's
about
all
that.
drugs.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, my bad.
Next group.
all right, next group. Saints to win the NFC South at plus 2,000. The Mets to win the World Series at plus 750. James Cameron to win Best Director at plus 600. Where are you going to put your $20, Pat? The Saints to win the NFC South at plus 2,000. Their game out. The Mets to win the World Series at plus 750. They just got Carlos Correa overnight. James Cameron to win Best Director at plus 600.
My boy, Jimmy Cameron, Canadian, 6-1. Let's go.
He's not the favorite.
No, he shouldn't be because he's a giant asshole.
Well, I mean, okay, not but technically he's not the favorite. I think I forget who it is. Someone's 150.
I mean, it's probably Steven Spielberg for the
Steven Spielberg for the whatever it is
for the Fablemans. Yeah, no, Spielberg's probably going to win, but people see Avatar 2 as such an achievement in directing. Maybe he'll win. Like he's already won for Titanic. They thought he was going to win for Avatar, and then he lost to his ex-wife. So that was pretty.
Oh, that's horrible.
Corey, where are you on this? Mets, Saints, or James Cameron?
I'm definitely not going for the Mets, so I'm going with the Saints. I take the Saints. Saints take a shot. Listen, if they put Jameson in the game, they can win out. I think I said it before. I continue to beat the table. I think it was a major mistake taking that job away from Jameis Winston this year.
That's 20-1 on $20. Pretty good.
It's not happening. The Saints are terrible.
They're a game out.
They're not though, because they're actually a game and a half behind. Like if it comes down to them in Tampa, they lose.
Right, they lost tiebreaker. But still, it might not. I think we went over this yesterday. Tampa's got a very hard. If you consider some of the teams they're playing good.
Well, they're playing Trace McSorley this week.
But can they beat him though? That's the problem.
We need a hard schedule. They play the Cardinals, the Panthers, and the Falcons. Those are 3 trash teams.
They have the reason why they're the shorter odds, why they have the shortest odds is because they have those 3 bad. Now listen, the problem is that Panther team is going to be live.
Yeah,
the Panthers might beat them.
That's true, and then they would have that tiebreaker because they'd be 2-0 against Tampa. It's just if Tampa can beat Arizona, it's almost game over for everyone else.
All right, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm rooting for anyone but Tampa in this.
Yeah, you've been doing that. Yeah, I know you've been on that all year. You don't want to see. You just want to see Tom Brady to go out like a chump, huh?
No, man, I don't care about Tom. I really don't care about Tom Brady. I like
you.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's irrelevant to me. But I don't know, man. Like Carolina would be such a good story, and I think they could disrupt the playoffs if they get in a little bit.
Why do you think Carolina's good? They're terrible.
I think Steve Wilkes is an amazing coach. Sam Darnold could, this could be a great redemption story, coming to his own, in the playoffs, throws for 300 yards in a game. DJ
Against
Moore
the
takes
Cowboys,
off.
let's not root for that.
All right, we'll worry about that later.
Please.
All right, let's get this last group. Let's get
to the group.
You got $20. Do you put it on the Padres to win the World Series? They're plus 1,000. They made a lot of noise early, and they got drowned out by all these other signings. South Dakota State to win the FCS title game against North Dakota. That's minus 170 for South Dakota State, who I think they're the Jackrabbits. I can't remember, actually. Or Rory McIlroy to win the Masters at plus 900. Pat Mayo, Mayo Media, what do you think?
When do they get steroids guy back, the Padres?
I think he's 24 more games.
Which
like that, maybe
one?
25 to 30. It was Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yes, yeah, I'll take the Padres in this one. Listen, Rory's had 9 years to win the Masters and finish the Grand Slam. It just might not happen for the poor guy, especially as the betting favorite. Don't love that one a ton. I don't know anything about the Jackrabbits, and yes, Jack the Jackrabbit is their mascot at South Dakota State. They should probably win, but I don't know anything about baseball, but I know the Padres spent all this money. They're supposed to be good. They got all their best players on steroids. That usually helps. So
And one.
Well, he's their best guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like look how good DeAndre Hopkins was when he came back. Give the old man some steroids.
He was
all of a sudden
fine.
he's great.
You know what? The Jackrabbits, interesting. But I'm going to take the baseball one as well. I'll take that. I like those odds. And I think the Padres can get over the hump.
I threw him in there because it seems like with all the noise they're making and the trades they made and like the signings, going back to last year, plus 1,000 seems kind of steep for the Padres to win the World Series. I know you got to get past the Dodgers, but
that's the hard part. But then
that wasn't very hard
don't win
last
the World
year.
Series either.
Yeah, the Dodgers have fumbled this ball many times.
Every year the Dodgers win 175 games and lose in the first round.
That's
yeah,
it.
but I think that's the issue, though, right? Like, because they're probably not going to win the division, their path just becomes exponentially harder.
That's true, too. Yeah, because you got to go through more steps.
But still, someone's got to win the World Series. Why not the team that just made like crazy signings for a little while before they got, all the attention was taken off them?
Oh, why not the Astros again? I mean, they seem like they win it every year.
I don't know, man. People get old on the Astros very quickly.
I'm Bible. I'm people.
I don't know what that means.
I'm old on the Astros.
Oh,
Yeah. But I got to be smart about it, Nando.
yeah, that's a good point. All right, those were our categories.
So we had $20 to spend on each of those categories.
Yeah, I think so. There were 9 of them, so you got $180 in your pocket. You got $20 just to tip your driver.
So save the $180, and what you can do is go to fantasygolfchampionships.com, pay $125 for a season-long entry in the race to the Mayo Cup. $50,000 for first, by the way. One and done.
I love that.
One pick per week. Can only use a golfer once all year. Takes less than 20 seconds to make your pick every week. You get text alerts for it. And there's $50,000 up top.
Hey, Mayo, can a novice like me win it?
Yes.
How?
I
How
love
about
it.
that? How? Like if it's basically Survivor for golf. Like
Yeah.
how do you what's the number one mistake people make when they jump into a one and done?
Well, if they know anything about golf, they'll try to outsmart themselves. Be like, well, I'm going to save Rory for this event in July, and I'm going to save Dustin Johnson for this one at the very end of August. Just use the good guys who are in fields. Get your money early and then figure out the rest. There's always going to be golfers to pick later on in the year. But I remember like one of the first years I did it, I saved 2 guys for the last 2 majors, and the majors were all the money is. You really want to do well in the majors. And then by the time those majors came around, those guys were hurt. I had used everyone else.
Well, how do you get bounced?
Go ahead, Nando.
How do you get bounced from the one and done? What is it?
It's just eventually you get so far behind you can't catch up.
Oh, okay. Well, you get points for like top finish gives you this many, second place gives you this many.
Your team earns what the player earns in the tournament money wise.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So if they win like $2.7 million, which I think is the players championship winner, your team gets $2.7 million. Most money wins.
What do you do
So
with
Pat-
live? Like, how does that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Corey. You go first. I didn't mean to ask too
The
early.
way you describe it, it almost sounds like being a novice is an advantage.
It can be.
Uh-huh.
Because novices aren't going to make the mistakes the galaxy brain people are going to make.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I like that idea.
We don't like the Galaxy brand here on the show.
It's
No.
like when I was regular working in the feds, and I know we would go to the pistol range, right?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, the instructors would be like, they'd rather teach people that don't know what they're doing because you don't have bad habits. Galaxy brain.
I can see that. Pat, how's the live factor into this?
Well, the live guys will be eligible for the majors, so you could use them at the majors.
That Mayo experience.
So you can use like so now I'm starting to do the Galaxy brand. Like I want to save one of my
Well, you-
4 best live guys for one of the
You would have to
majors.
save them because you actually can't use them for any other tournament.
Yeah,
Right, good
can't
point.
use
Yeah.
them.
You just have to pick
I
and
learned
choose
that
who's good at
today.
which one, right?
Yeah,
Like-
or I mean, there is a part of a strategy. Like I think the best strategy to take, and this is working out for me very well because I play in a bunch of them. Like on the site, like the race for the Mayo Cup is $125, and that's for the year, by the way. It's not per week. So you pay in January, it goes till the end of August. Like per week, it's like $4 or something.
Book it a
like that.
T-shirt or anything?
No, you get a
Alright.
chance to win $50K.
Yeah, I keep that
Or-
T-shirt.
and there's-
I'll
Be a
buy a
nice touch.
T-shirt.
Be a nice touch.
By the way, they're super flat, but like I worked on the payout structure for them. So it's $50K for first, $35K for second, $25 for third, even 10th, I think makes like $5,000. Like it's like first prize is only 10% of the pot. So it pays all the way down with like pretty good payouts into like the 690s, 700s of 4,000 people.
That's interesting. A 12-team league with a, let's go, $100 entry fee.
Mhm.
You have $1,200 in the pot. How much should the champion win?
Well, I'm just trying to see how we do it. We have 14 teams. Let's call it $100 an entry. 600 goes to the winner. 300 goes to the winner of the regular season, and 300 goes to second place.
So there you go, Nando. That regular season money that we talked about last week
I don't
came
like
into
that.
play.
I don't
Nando's
like that.
against regular season money.
Why? That's the hardest part.
No, I think the winner. It's the winner for me. You know what I mean? Like it's
No, that's more random chance than anything else. Like being the best team over 14 weeks is much harder than being the best team over a 2-week stretch.
I would say if you've finished with the most points, you get the number 1 seed, and there's your reward. You get the
No,
bomb.
I like the wild card rule, where like if you were the team that got screwed because other teams played great fantasy defense against you, then you can have the 6th seed. You can have the last spot in the playoffs and earn your way back.
We do that too. We got points. You get the most points. Whatever.
So you
your
just play
record
points.
is.
So like you play in a points league.
Well, I mean, everyone does. How do you win?
You win
Your
because
games.
you win the game.
Well,
But
a
like
lot
you're
of times-
saying that.
a lot of times
let's
the
say
best record-
I scored the most points in my fantasy league, but I went 0-14. I still win the regular season money.
No, you,
That
well,
team that
yeah,
me and
that's
Lawrence
fine.
got in the GST, the team that me and Laura don't lose having the GST, that team was like next. That team was 5-9, but had the 3rd most points.
Has no
So
quarterback.
that team shouldn't be left out the playoffs, and now that team has no quarterback. You're right.
No, I agree with you. It shouldn't be left out of the playoffs. It should get the last spot in the playoffs. But I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
think it should automatically get the regular season money because it scored the most points. Like win some games. Have
Yeah.
some pride.
You know what? Jake
Wait for something.
plays leagues where the 6 make it, and the top 3 that make it in
Oh my
advance
Yeah,
to
he
the
doesn't
next
like
round.
Jake-
Is that it?
When
Jake-
you said Jake, you started shaking his head.
Oh, man.
exclusively takes the fun out of fantasy football.
Jake didn't start a kicker. You know, we faced each other in the St. Jude's CBS Draftathon League. Jake, because he's Jake. I mean, he started a kicker. He started a guy who was cut in August by the Saints. We tied, and he lost the tiebreaker. So I advanced and I gave him some crap, and he's like, "Yeah, but if I would have started kicker X, I would have got negative points. So it's stupid anyway. Whatever." I'm like, "All right, man. However you want to twist this, but you did not
Just
advance
living the
because."
gimmick. I like it.
Yeah, I get, dude, like hardcore, like this isn't even like a publicized league anywhere. You know what I mean? It's not like I talk about it every week on the podcast. This is just Jake in his regular street clothes, not starting a kicker out of spite, or starting a dude who's been cut out of spite.
And listen, the whole I was pro getting rid of kickers, but I think the more that I think about it, the less I like it. I think we should bring back kickers.
Then do you think it's starting to reverse, right? Because I agree with you. Like I was big, get rid of kickers, get rid of kickers, get rid of kickers. And now I'm like, you know what? Why? You can have, there is some intrigue to having a kicker in fantasy. Like Justin Tucker hitting the bomb on week 17. It's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm with Pat here. I'm like, now I'm team bring the kicker back.
Here's the reason why. Take a look at what happened to baseball. baseball used to be fun. Baseball featured things like guys going complete games, bunting, hit and runs. All that is out of baseball because the analytics told us that was not a great thing to do, which is true. They weren't the right things to do. Baseball is played more properly now than it's ever been. And what is it? Fucking boring. It's just it's tedious to watch. Pitching changes, the shift, guys only trying to hit home runs or strike out. Like, there's only so many outcomes that people play to at this point. It's made the game really boring. I fear the same thing is going to happen to fantasy football once we get rid of all the high variance positions. Kicker, hard to project because it's super random. I mean, football tends to be a bit more random in the first place, but kicker is especially random. Team defenses, especially random. There are ways where you can try to project it out, but on a game-to-game basis, like that, the variance and the bell curve of those two positions is like across the board. Like, Jake will tell you that you shouldn't have tight ends in your league. No, there's only 3 good ones. Like, part of it is this is supposed to be fun. At the same time, like, maybe if you want to play in the highest of high stakes leagues and you're putting up like 10 grand to enter a league, then sure, play it by the way that your numbers tell you by the most. But the fantasy leagues, especially the ones that I'm playing in with my friends, like, I want it to be random. I want everyone to have a chance to win. I don't want to have to be able to go to runtothesims.com, press optimize, be like, oh, here are my picks.
That was a nice
imagine
reference.
you was the 6th seed and you just snuck into the playoffs, right? You won your game.
I just did that.
In week 14, and your defense was the Raiders, and that Chandler Jones interception touchdown put you to the next round. Like, that's fantasy football right there.
Yeah, there's an element of fun of fantasy football, especially season long. Listen, like, I'm harping on this for season long because I really lost my passion for season long fantasy football. I don't like it anymore. But I think that introducing back in elements of fun is huge.
I like the idea of a head coach. You get some points for that too, because that adds. I mean, look, if you pick your head coach, you get 5 points for a win. It's almost like it's got a little betting tinge to it that adds another element to things.
It does.
You don't get points for whatever a head coach does. It's smart, but like if I got Josh McDaniels,
like,
and I won that game,
lose a challenge -3.
No, just straight win. A win gives you 5 points. That's it. If your
Why
coach
would you just draft a team then?
What if your
it's just more fun to have a goofy head coach?
What if your fantasy coach is like Frank Wright and he gets fired in the middle of the season? Do you get like
a drop? I'm in a 2-head coach league.
Pick up a coach.
I'm in a super head coach flex league where there aren't many on the wire, so you got Jeff Saturday.
You got to pick up Jeff Saturday.
Jeff Saturday got a lot of fab. All right,
never have no win points.
We got to go. We're going to run the board with the NBA next with Cole Huff, Pat. I don't know if you ever met Cole Huff. He's the man. He's great.
I do not know Cole Huff, but if you're vouching for him, that either means he's awesome or the worst. One of the two. There's no.
Thank you. I appreciate that. To be fair, it's like 9 awesome to 1 worst. I got to.
I agree. That is the proper ratio.
Pat, you got to ask him, where does he rate compared to Fino? You know what I'm saying?
I would never do that. Never. Pat Mayo, Mayo Media Network. Thanks a lot, man. This is
happy Canadian holidays, Pat.
We call it Christmas too.
Oh, okay.
We don't know. We'll see you next. Pat, what's the site again? What is it? National Fantasy Golf Championship?
No, just fantasygolfchampionships.com. It starts at the Sony Open. It's already 20% full, and people haven't even really clued in that it's open yet. So this is going to fill super fast if people want to get into it. $125 to play, 5 max entry. You could have up to 5 teams. Like I said, that lasts you the entire year. And there's bigger ones. There's like $1,000 one and done. There's a $25 one and done, depending on the level that you want to get in at. So this is the big one, though, the $50K for first one.
All right. Yes, we'll do our best to help you fill it, sir. Bye, Pat.
Mayo,
Mayo, everybody. Presenter of Corey, Nando, and Friends here on the
Experience! Experience!